Okay, so I finally finished it. I didn't set out to make a tutorial. I was experimenting with this earring here, and I started making it and thought, wow, I should really film this so that you guys can see what I'm making. So it's a bit higgledy-piggledy. It's not a standard tutorial, because like I say, I'd already started. So you'll have to excuse if the video's in the wrong order, because I'd already started this one. So I show you a bit of this one, and then I go and show you how to do your top piece, how to attach your loop, which you're then going to put your earring finding, or whatever you want, because you might want to make a pendant or just a charm to hang up somewhere. You might not want to make an earring, you might want to have a little charm hanging from your mirror in your car or something like that. So yeah, whatever your attachment, you put that on the top there. But I'll show you how to do this piece. I'll show you how to start it with your first couple of bits, and I'll show you some of the progression and how I've folded my threads over and woven them back up through that crimp bead and crimped it. So yeah, hopefully you'll find this useful. And if it's in the wrong order, yeah, because I didn't set out to do a tutorial, I just suddenly thought, oh, I should film this so I can show all my friends on YouTube, because yeah, it's a really cool project. I've enjoyed it. It's not been easy, so it's not an easy project, but yeah, give it a go, see what you think, and hopefully there's enough instruction in here that you can follow and be able to make this lovely earring with a real peacock feather. So yeah, I hope you enjoy the video. I'm trying to zoom in a bit there so you can see how I've got those little crimp beads on there. Really pretty, yeah. So yeah, it wasn't easy, but once you get going and you get used to the materials you're working with, these fluffy feathers, yeah, it wasn't too bad, but it was quite difficult, so I'm not gonna lie. So if you like a challenge, give it a go. Absolutely stunning, beautiful little earring. So yeah, thanks for watching. Hope you enjoyed the video, and hope it's clear enough that you can go away and make your own. Okay, so I'm in the middle of this one. It's possibly one of the most difficult things I've ever tried to make, but I am getting there. So I've zoomed in a bit so you can see. What I've been doing is taking little groups of 4, just separating them out like this. It's very delicate work. I'm going to try and get them in the right order. 2. One doesn't belong there, hang on. 1, 2, 3, 4. Like so. I started in the middle, and you can start at any point you like. You can start up here and have it smaller, or I wanted my long so you can see these bits. I've been to the dentist today, so I've still got a numb mouth. Yeah, so you can start wherever you want, but start in the middle, and then we'll work alternately this side, then this side, this side, this side, this side, this side. Keep going like that, and just gradually gradiating it up as you go. And yeah, start in the middle. I used groups of 4, but now I've got to this point, I've counted them, counted how many I've got left of these feathers, because they're not going to be the same on each side. So I'm now having to do groups of 4 on this side and 3 on this side, but it's just going to depend on your feather. So when you get to a certain stage like this, you want to count these to make sure you're going to have even amounts each side. But start off with 4 like this. And I'll show you how I've been doing mine. I did see a lady do this online, but she used some glue to stick in the bottom of her beads to fix them on, which I don't want to do, because I don't think it'd be secure, and it's a bit too much glue for me. So I've used crimp beads, I don't know if you can see that. And what I've done is taken the feather and passed it back up through the crimp bead and up through this bead, and obviously crimped it and cut it there. So that's going to make my work a lot more secure than if you were to try and poke glue in. You know, it was not going to secure very well, but that's the video I watched. She glued the whole thing. So yeah, I've done mine differently. So I thought I'd show you what I've done. Zoom in a bit more maybe and show you that. Yeah, you can see the crimps here. It's not the gorgeousest thing, but you know, from a distance when you're looking at that earring, that just looks lovely. Gorgeous. So I'll show you this what I'm going to do here, and then I'll show you how I did the top piece. So what I do is take my 4 strands, get a piece of card, any piece of card, and then get some glue. I'm using this stuff, I think it's basically PVA glue. You just want something that dries clear and dries quite quickly. I'm just using this because it's got a nice little snout on the end. So, and I'm not using the glue to stick any of my beads on, I'm just using it to fuse these 4 pieces into one, so that I can thread it through my needle, not through my needle, through my beads. And the reason I'm using this one here is because of this snout. If it's going to work, I'm just going to go down, cover it. Hang on a minute, this is a bit gacked up. Saying that, no, it doesn't want to come out with its little snout. Let's just give it a poke with a needle. Just use an old needle there to poke the end. It doesn't seem to want to come out. It's very delicate. So if you don't like doing delicate, you won't like doing this. You can just use some, you know, get a dish, put some PVA glue in it, and use a toothpick. But as soon as I've got this thing with the snout on it, I thought I might as well use it. Spread that glue so it's all covered. A nice coating in there. There is no rushing this at any stage. It's very delicate work. Like I said, possibly the hardest thing I've ever made, to be honest. But I was determined, and I wanted to find a way to make it more secure so that it would last. So I used the crimps. Right, I'm going to really gently take that off and then slide the glue on like so. Get these out of the way. Clean fingers. And then I'm going to do that one more time. I'm just going to grab the group of feathers and just gently pull down, and then I have to give it a moment because you can't do it straight away. You don't want it to dry hard, but you do want it to set a little bit. So I'll show you how I do the top. So you want to strip these off, strip all your bits off the top until you're happy with the size and the shape at the top. This feather I'm not going to use because it's pretty battered. It's an old one. I'm just going to use it as a sample to show you what I did. So you strip it down, turn it over, and you're going to snip it off. It's about yay long. And depending, mine's going to be too thick. So let's just snip a bit more off. Too thick to go through the beads, so I'm going to trim mine sideways like this, being really careful not to actually completely through. Do not go completely through, or that's it, you buggered. There you go, like so. Just trim it. Just going to give that a little point so it goes through my beads easier. Just like so. And then take whichever bead you want to use. You could use any bead. And a crimp bead. So I've got these tiny crimp beads here. I'm just going to pick that up on the feather. Push it down. Pick up 2 of these. These are size 6.0 Mayuki seed beads. Another one. Or you could just do 1 bead, but on the ones I've just made I've done 2. So 1 or 2. I'll do 1 just to make it, oh, I don't want to pull that, do I? Just to make it easier to show you and quicker for me so I can crack on with the rest of that earring. So you're going to take some round nose pliers, turn it sideways, and you're going to bend it round. So once you've got it bent, just take it and push it, oops, through your bead and down through that crimp bead. Hang on a minute, it doesn't want to go. Just trim that a bit more. It's very fiddly, sorry. Going out of frame there. Get it down through the crimp bead, like so. And then just crimp it like that. Use the flat pliers. Crimp it, and voila. And then you can trim this little piece off with a pair of scissors. So just use that feather. There you go, simple as that. Now, this is the not so easy bit. I'm going to add the beads. So what we do is I'm going to take 2 11-0s. Should be fused enough. Right. Gently slide that down. Take a second 11-0. Gently slide it down, not all the way yet. And then I'm going to take a bugle bead. I might have to trim it here and there because it can get quite flimsy. That's okay. I usually end up trimming it a few times. Oh, dropped that one. Yeah, it's not easy by any means. And then I've done a crystal. You can do any combination of beads, whatever you think is going to look nice for your piece of work. Let's just start sliding those down. Oh, broken it. I think I let it dry too long while I was showing you the other piece. That's okay. They do break sometimes. Right, so just like so, so it's slightly above the other one. Let's add our last beads. We've got the crimp bead. And then the really hardest bit of all is the 15 O's, because they're so tiny. I'm just going to move them down a tiny way. Two. And 3. Gently slide them up. Gotta be gentle but firm, and that's not easy. Right, so slide them up a tiny bit closer, like so, and they're all in place. Right. Now, once you've got those all in place, I'm going to do another tiny trim. Just so I've got a fresh end that's not been poked about. So it's going to make it easier. I'm going to flip it round. And this is quite a difficult piece of the puzzle. I hope you can see what I'm doing. So I'm going to take this, turn it over, and very carefully post it up through that bead there, that crimp bead. And then because it's not thread, obviously, it's not so flexible, you've got to kind of wiggle that through, bend your beads over. Nearly. Just keep gently easing it into place. You don't want to snap it at this point. If you do, you're in trouble. In trouble. And then I'm going to take that end, and now I'm going to go through my crystal, which isn't absolutely necessary. You could just trim it off after the crimp bead. So just going to do it with these pliers. Gently pop that through. That's not quite round, so fix that bit now. And there we go, that's popped up into place, look. And then check your positioning. Oh, that's way too high, I pulled it too far. Which is fine, just put it back down. So about there, yeah. Alright, now tighten that back up. As much as you can. And if it doesn't sit straight, you can just get a needle and poke it so it sits straight. Right, now we're going to just one more check, make sure that length is correct, because once you've crimped, there's no going back. Right, and then yeah, that's going up nicely. So we'll take it I'll crimp bead, nippers, squish it flat like so, and then cut that piece off. And that's one more tassel added. That's not sitting right, is it? That's supposed to be over here. Once you hang it up, it'll dangle correctly. But obviously laying on the table is a bit different. There you go. And then you're all set for your next one. Just check it each time, make sure everything's lining down like that and like that. And then we're going to go ahead and go onto this side. And I'm going to count out 3. 1, 2. Oops, that one underneath is there. And yeah, be careful, because if you get them in the wrong order, like that, where they're crossed over, you're going to have a bit sticking out afterwards. So you got 1, 2, I think that one's the 3rd. No, like that. 1, 2, 3. Just check. Yeah. So now I'm going to do those ones, but I'm doing 3 on this side because obviously I don't have an even amount. So I did 4 all the way up to about here, and then I counted how many I had on each side so I could make groups, you know, 4 groups, 4 lots on this side and 4 lots on that side, whatever, 5 lots, however many more I've got to go. So I've got groups of 3 on that side and groups of 4 on that side because I don't have any, they're not even, obviously. So I'm just going to continue like that. So that's all you do is, yeah, take your feathers, put them onto your card, put some glue on it, squiggle it down, give it a moment, don't let it dry too hard, and then trim the end, thread your beads, whichever bead you choose, and do that going back up and through the loop for your crimp beads. And that's all there is to it. So I'll get back to you at the end and show you how it turns out. I hope you can follow from just those minimal instructions, but that's obviously I've showed you how to add your top piece, which is really simple, using the top of the feather and a couple of beads. And then with this, yeah, you just find your center point, come down to here, take out 4. I could probably start this one actually. I'll start the second earring. So I'll show you how we start it, which you're going to take those 4 and then just start adding your beads and working your way up. Each one getting higher and higher and higher as you go, making a sort of a point. The one I saw online, she started hers about here and worked up, so just cut that. It was quite a small earring like this, but I wanted to incorporate all this and these lovely colours around the edge here. I wanted a longer earring, so I've done it my way, obviously. And like I say, I can't remember her name. I'll have to look before I do the end of the video to at least give her credit for her work, because yeah, I got the idea from her video. But like I say, she adds her beads, glues it all on, glues it all the way along, and then trims it all afterwards when it's dry. And it's only that glue sitting on the end of there with the feather, which is holding her beads in, which, yeah, I'm a perfectionist and I like my work to last, so I decided to do that, doubling back up and crimping. There's no way that's coming off. So it's a lot more secure. So I've obviously done mine a bit different and longer, different beads. Yeah, took a different way of making it, so thought I'd make my own little video. But I will give her credit when I get to the end. I have to go away and look, see what her name is, because you might like to watch her video too. And yeah, I'll come back when I finish this one and show you what it looks like finished, and then I'll start the beginning of this one, so you can see what it's like just starting out from scratch, because I think the beginning is always the hardest with any project, getting it going, because once you've got a few going it's easy to follow, but getting started out here is probably a bit harder. So right, I'm going to continue with mine. I've got 3 now on this side. Glue those, thread my beads on just like I showed you, and then yeah, I'll come back and show you how I started it with the beginning beads. So yeah, that's how it's done. Okay, so we're down in the kitchen because I wanted you to see them in natural light, because they're just so much nicer. So much nicer. And I would suggest having a good old fiddle about with your feathers and just getting the feel of them. You know, practice picking up a few strands at a time and get the feel of working with them, because when you're working with a new material, it takes getting used to. So have a little play with your feathers before you get started. And yeah, this one obviously I'm part way through. And I'll show you how we start one off. We'll go down in a bit closer so you can see. Now hopefully you can see there what I'm doing. Right, so I'm going to separate out a few strands. First I'm going to put these bits to one side a little bit, and these bits. I'm going to find roughly the middle point about there. I'm going to take one. Oh, that one's broken off. 2, 3. I'm only going to take 3 because there's one halfway up broken off, so it's going to make it thicker. So I'm just going to take 3. Normally I would take 4. There's a broken one halfway up. So I'm just going to do 3. And we'll join that broken one in, hopefully. Like so. And take a piece of card, any piece of card, it's just to protect your work, protect your feather underneath. And you see there's that broken one. That's cool, we'll deal with that. Oh. Yeah, that's why I'd always have a little play with them, because they seem to have a little life of their own, these things. And even though it's very delicate work, they're actually quite strong. So, right. Strong but delicate at the same time. Right. Once you've got them down, get your glue. Like, try and get that down a tiny bit. I really want it below there. About there where that end starts. And just like so, put a bit of glue all the way down. You can just put some in a little tub and use a toothpick to spread your glue with, like so. You need a tiny bit, because it's only to fuse your bits of feather together. It's not going to be holding any beads or securing your work or anything like that. It's just only for the purposes of joining these bits of feather together as one thread, so you can get through your beads with it. So we've done that. Try and keep it separate. See, these feathers have a life of their own, which is why it's worth having a little mess about with them. Get the feel of how they move, how they behave, so they're easier to work with. Right, then we want to the golds. Right, so we've got our beads. I'm going to snip a tiny end off here. There's my dog again. Oh my goodness, he always has to get in there making noises. So one of my matte. Oops. This is so hard, guys. This is going to be a challenge. Challenge for you. Right, come here, beads. Try and get it through the end. That's one. Slide it up. Like so. And then we want the second 11 bead. Put that through. And then we want a bugle bead. This is the hardest one, I think. Through. Part. Then the crystal. Ooh, totally missed the hole then. Don't know how I managed that. It's hard to see the hole in these smoky looking crystals. And then we want our crimp bead. Have we got a crimp bead? Yeah, there's a crimp bead. There's a crimp bead. I go through the crimp bead. Like so. And then your 3 15-Os. 1. 2. Last but not least, 3. So you don't really need to leave your glue too long to dry either. You want it to be still a bit flexible or whatever. And then you're going to take your work and you're going to bend this piece over, and then you're going to go back up through that crimp bead. It's quite hard when you start because you've got so many bits of feather in your way, but yeah, try and get a little grip on there and then get it up through. It's escaping. Hold still. Yeah, it doesn't quite work like thread, so it's quite fiddly. Can't see what I'm doing here, hang on. This is the hardest bit, I think. And the light's fading here, so... drop them off. Right, I'm going to have to pick those back up and start again. Let's start again. Right, back where we were. And back under the fake light. It's too hard, so right, you've got your one in the middle like that. Right, sorry, the phone went. Don't think I meant to make this video. Right, so we've got all our beads on. So keep all your other feathery bits out the way. Take your tail thread. Pop it up. Through that crimp bead. And you have to trim that a tiny bit. It's nice to have a fresh end where it hasn't already been poked through, so it starts to fray. So a nice clean edge. That's through. Alright, now that that's through, make sure you put it in the same place as the other earring, which I had mine just below the purple. See what I mean about it's harder to get started is harder. So, right, we're now through there. I'm going to tighten that off. I'm actually going to crimp it before I go any further. Just so I know that's secure so my beads don't drop off again. We've already done that once. We don't need to do it again, do we? I'm going to try and thread it through this second bead, but if not, it's not absolutely necessary. You can just cut it off. Yeah, I'm going to cut this one off at the crimp because it's too short. Too much fiddling around. So that'd be fine anyway. You don't have to go through the second bead. I just like to. When you get your first one on, like so. And you're going to take 4 strands this side, 2, 3, 4. Your 4 strands. You're going to do the same again. Put your cardboard on there. Spread your glue. Add your beads. And you want your next row of beads to sit slightly up. And then put those on and then do 4 on the other side. And do the same. So I'll do as much as I can on film without messing it up because it's always harder to do things on video than it is when you're just cracking on by yourself. So I'll try not to mess up. Try and show you another strand. Add your glue. And just spread it down to the end. I don't know if you can see that tail end in the camera, but I'm just spreading it all the way down. And then very carefully remove it like so. And then pinch it and pull. Second time, pull. Just leave that sit for a moment. Like I said, it's one of the hardest things I've ever made, to be honest. It's really difficult, I'm not gonna lie. So if you like a challenge, if you don't like too much of a challenge, maybe not. I don't mind a challenge, I like a challenge. So, some of these. And it's certainly going to take your mind off the world, because you have to focus so hard on getting the end through these tiny beads. So, I love peacock feathers, they're absolutely stunning things. So, I always look at them and think, what can I make with that? They're so incredible. What can I do with it? You know. But yeah, I don't think you'd want to have to make too many of these, because my goodness, it is not easy. Let's try another way to pick that up. Let's just see. So, it's two beads on, and then the one I hate. Don't want to torture myself. It's so hard. Yeah, I did it. There you go. I don't like bugles. Not that I don't like them, I don't like having to thread them on this feather. It's really hard work. And the crystal. And the crimping bead. Ooh. And then the 15 O's, which are the tiny, tiny ones. So I've got a tube of beads stuck to my arm. 1, 2, 3. Yeah, sometimes you work away rhythmically and just fine. Everything plods along, and then as soon as you put the camera on to do something on video, it all goes wrong. And yes, it can be quite challenging. It's harder than I thought making videos, especially tutorials. It really is. It's not as easy as I thought. But hopefully you guys are getting this. So now, see the second one. You want it to sit slightly above, like so. And then I'm going to do the same thing. Go up and through this. Crimp bead. Oh, these feathers. They're not easy to work with. There we go. And then the 15 O's, which are the tiny, tiny ones. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, 20, 21, 22, 23, 24, 25, 26, 27, 28, 29, 30, 31, 32, 33, 34, 35, 36, 37, 38, 39, 40, 41, 42, 43, 44, 45, 46, 47, 48, 49, 50, 51, 52, 53, 54, 55, 56, 57, 58, 59, 60, 61, 62, 63, 64, 65, 66, 67, 68, 69, 70, 71, 72, 73, 74, 75, 76, 77, 78, 79, 80, 81, 82, 83, 84, 85, 86, 87, 88, 89, 90, 91, 92, 93, 94, 95, 96, 97, 98, 99, 100, 101, 102, 103, 104, 105, 106, 107, 108, 109, 1 bending it up just so that I can get through there. I'm just going to go with the crimp bead to start with. There you go, through. It's hard to get hold of, get your little pliers just to get it through a tiny bit so you can get hold of it. I want to check my positioning before I go ahead and crimp it, because once it's crimped there's no going back. I need to set a bit higher. About there. About there, yeah, that's about right. Let's just try and gently get that to turn. Tighten it up. And I'm going to go ahead and crimp it straight away. Actually, maybe not. Maybe I'm going to check one more time. Yeah, I'm happy with that. Right, so that's now crimped, so that's not going anywhere. It's actually only the tiniest bit higher. No, it isn't. There you go, look. Perfect. That's a little bit higher. Right, let's just see if I can go through the other bead. I will, but if it's too much trouble, you can just cut it off at the crimp though, because that will suffice. That'd be absolutely fine, because these feathery things are a nightmare. Just giving myself more work by doing this, but yeah, no, I'm just going to cut them off at the crimp. It's going to be perfectly adequate there. Right. So you got two. This one's slightly higher than the middle one. And we're going to go ahead and do our next one. So we're going to separate our 4 strands and then do the same, add the beads, go back up through the crimp bead, give it a crimp, and yeah, and it will sit slightly at this bit above here. And then we're just going to work backwards and forwards, one this side, 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 all the way up like this, until we've got a lovely V. So just keep counting out your groups of 4 and keep going, and it won't be long till you have something that looks like that, which is super gorgeous. And I've got a little way to go, not far, not very far at all. And yeah, I think that's going to look amazing. So yeah, just keep going. Like I say, so I'm working 2 earrings at the same time now. Beginning of this one, and then this one. So that's going to be the most beautiful pair of earrings when it's finished. Can't wait. But I can. It's going to take me a long time. It's a lot of work. So yeah, I hope it's been helpful. I hope all these little steps, it's been a bit jumbled up and higgledy-piggledy bits of video and phone calls and yeah, and a few errors which I've left in because yeah, I think it's best to be honest about a project, how difficult it is, how easy it is. You know, that's what's really going to happen when you make something. You're going to come across these mistakes and little problems, so it's best, I think, to leave them in the video rather than keep taking them all out and then making another video and getting it all perfect for the purposes of YouTube. I'd rather make it, you know, real, and you guys can see what you're up against and whether you really want to try this project. So yeah, Hope it's helpful. I hope those steps and the other clips that I've put together, I don't know, they're probably going to be in a bit of a funny order, and I apologise for that. I'm not professional with this tutorial thing. I just didn't want to finish this project and then think, oh, right, now I need to go away and make a tutorial so I can show everyone how to do it. I just thought I'll join you in along the ride of, this is the first time I've ever made these. It's an experiment, like I say. Everything's an experiment if you're doing it for the first time. And I've adapted, I think her name was Anna Marie Creations. Yeah, I watched a video, like I say, she glued her beads. She didn't do a crimp bead, she just threaded them on, glued the end, and then waited for it to dry and cut the excess off at the end. So the whole time she's working with all this length, plus a lot more glue, which I'm not comfortable to do. Plus I don't know how long, realistically, gluing, just leaving a blob of glue at the end of these beads would last. All that work, all that time to make something so beautiful, for it not to last. And I believe she used plastic beads, so maybe she wasn't planning on it lasting long, but I certainly would never use plastic beads. Mine are all they're Swarovski crystals, and then my Yuki seed beads, and same at the top. Yeah, so I've done mine with a crimp bead just to ensure it doesn't come apart, and it, you know, your piece of work lasts, especially if you have put all those hours of work into it. And I'm a bit of a perfectionist, so I have spent a long time getting it right. So yeah, I hope that was helpful. And the other clips, sorry if they're put together a bit jumbled. This is all mixed up, look. Because like I say, I had phone calls, had a trip to the dentist. I tried to film in the kitchen, and then the dog was in and out the back door making noises, and yeah, the light started to fade really quickly in there, so I needed my studio lamp. So sorry if it's all higgledy-piggledy and messed up and mixed, but yeah, I hope you've enjoyed the video. I hope this was helpful. I think they're absolutely stunning, and if you like fiddly projects that take time and patience, and you just want to get lost in your work, it's kind of therapeutic, like just being in the moment, you can't think about anything else except focusing on these little beads. And yeah, it's very calming, relaxing, and at the end of it, you've made something really beautiful. So yeah, I hope you enjoyed the video. Again, my apologies for it being a bit spliced in higgledy-piggledy. I just took the opportunity of filming whatever bits I could along the process of making these earrings, and the filming didn't necessarily go to plan. So I've just captured what I could, and I'll string it together, and hopefully, you know, it'll be helpful and you'll enjoy it. And yeah, credit to Anne Marie Creations, where I got the idea. Like I say, I've taken that idea, ran with it, made it my own, added a few ideas, and adapted it a bit to suit my purposes. So thanks to Anne Marie for her video. And thanks for watching Bead Pie from me, Becca. Have a great day. Yeah, get your patient hat on before you even attempt this. And yeah, enjoy your beading. Bye, everybody. See you again soon.